here and we'll get started. There we go. So, yes, I am on a journey to see Canadians live healthier lives. I want to see them live healthier lives through good gut health. I think that's where it starts. So fittingly, the pre and probiotic with digestive enzymes is it's a product that's done well across Canada and abroad for many years. I think that's where health starts. I think health starts in the gut, and if you don't have a healthy gut, you don't have health. And there's no point in taking immune support capsules if you don't have a healthy gut. So that's where everything rises and falls. And I also want to see Canadians get moving. That's one I struggle with more than some, but that aligns with some of the products we have coming out after Be Well, which is Move Well, which is a joint support complex, and Sleep Well as well, which we're in the testing phases of now. So yeah, kind of brief introduction of Silver Lining here. We have three things we want to do. We want to keep it intentional. We want to keep it simple, and we want to keep it excellent. I might add to that too. We also don't want to sell to the big guys someday in 15 or 20 years. We're not interested in being another subsidiary of another large pharma company that is simply buying out supplements because they realize how effective they are and how they're actually working. So you can trust that we'll stay a small owner-operated company for a very long time to come. So introducing the team, Kelly and Matt McLennan on the left there. That's my beautiful wife, Angela. And that's me, of course, Shane. And then I say John beside Jan because it's the Dutch name, John. So his name is Jan, not Jan. You only make that mistake once. And that's his wife, Amanda. And the six of us are fairly involved. There's also another owner named Mike, who's a little less in front of the camera, but he's the numbers genius that keeps us all afloat. So just some fun pictures here that we took at that same time. I want to give you some context, okay? These are big boys. I am 215 pounds, and I am a shrimp compared to Yun and Matt. So it gives you an idea. This is a bulky team. And Mike is the tallest of them all, by the way. He's also the thinnest. I think he probably weighs about 165. But yeah, so these are big boys. They keep me honest. And I'm particularly proud of the picture on the bottom right, in which I finally got Matt McLennan to start wearing a fanny pack. Okay, fanny packs are amazing, my friends, and I hope that we can start using them as swag for Silver Lining in the future. How did I become a part owner in Silver Lining Wellness Co? It started about 8 years ago when I went for dinner at Jan Mulder's house. Jan Mulder is a powerful man. He's the kind of guy that tends to sit on different boards, and it's not long before people are always asking him to be the chairman of said boards. So when he invites you over for dinner, you take the opportunity and you meet his wonderful family. And during dinner, he pulled out a bottle of Silver Lining probiotics and placed them on the table, and he took one. And I immediately knew I respected this guy even more now. I said, "Hey, that's an excellent product. Like, where did you come to learn about Silver Lining pre and probiotics with the enzymes?" And he says, "Well, actually, funny you should ask. I own the company." And that began a conversation that eventually culminated about 2 years ago with me joining the team at Silver Lining, particularly to start bringing new innovative products underneath the banner of what was already so excellent. We found that retailers were already very much in appreciation of the pre and probiotics with the enzymes, and Silver Lining was already doing well. So now it's time to start bringing more products on board. So we've already talked about some of those that we're bringing on board. And I'll also mention that digestive enzymes were my gateway into natural health. When I was a 19-year-old man, I believed that it was just completely normal to be in incredible pain all the time, have digestion issues all the time. And so the very first product I took was, I don't even remember who made it, but it was the HCl product combined with the digestive enzymes. And in about 4 hours, my life changed. And I thought, why doesn't my doctor know about this? And that was on the coattails of experiencing a fairly traumatic death of my father. My father was very much in the mainstream medical system for the final years of his life. And, to speak candidly, I felt back then as an 18-year-old that knew it all, that they were sort of treating him like a guinea pig. But I thought that was the only way. I remember the challenges as kind of growing out of that and realizing that just because your doctor says it doesn't mean it's 100% gospel the truth, and that there are other perspectives out there. So between those two things, my father's tragic passing in the care of public health care, and then my own discovery of digestive enzymes and getting rid of my heartburn for the first time in a decade. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, that's how I came a part of Silver Lining, and it's been a privilege to work on the team. Getting specifically to Be Well, because I'm not planning on talking much about the probiotics tonight. The origin story of Be Well immune support capsules is in those early months of the global pandemic response. That was a weird time, right? So early on, people started grasping for protocols. There was, this desire to get, a magical vaccine to the market. There was all these different things that happened, and not unlike many naturally focused people, we started doing research and wanted to see what other people were doing in light of these very, very aggressive respiratory infections that we were seeing. This was nearly identical to what all of our families and some key medical staff were taking. So we were associated with people within the mainstream medical system. We were associated with people in the naturopathic medical system, and we were simply copycatting what we saw to be working. We were getting together on big conferences and talking to mainstream people, going, okay, what's the plan here? What are we doing? What are the protocols that are working right now? And what do we actually have available? Because in those days, ivermectin became popular treatment, and then right away it was horse paste and written off, and so we didn't have access to those types of things. And that's, in the end, that was good, because then we started understanding a little bit about the efficacy of NAC and quercetin with their zinc and copper delivery system. So that was a difficult time that led to great opportunities in the end. So, and then of course, as already mentioned, our focus was first on respiratory immunity. There's tons of secondary benefits we know in natural supplementation, right? This happens all the time. But we were focused on respiratory. As you can probably deduce, we're in such a strange era of respiratory immunity. You guys as retailers probably get it a lot, that people are coming into your stores talking about how they just can't seem to lick their cough. They can't get rid of it. They seem to get sick every second week. What's going on? They're trying puffers. They're trying this. They're trying that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that exasperation that comes in later. But that was where the focus was first, respiratory and immunity, though, of course, there were many secondary benefits. So the priority, okay. So the awesome thing about Silver Lining probiotics with the enzymes is that they work. And they work in such a binary way that people try them and they're experiencing results within hours, not days even. And that's a big deal. So we needed to have something that could stand up to those binary effects, right? We needed that cause and effect relationship. So it had to actually work. It had to reduce your chance of getting sick. It had to lessen symptoms actively. It had to walk you through it, right? And it had to hold value. So if we couldn't keep the cost low enough to instill value in your customer, then it's no use, right? And it had to bring simplicity. I know there's not a one-stop shop, right? Like this is what every supplement company, it's your one-stop shop. I get it. The one-stop solution, I'm always a little leery of, but we wanted to see if we could do that. We're using some highly concentrated supplementation here so that the stuff that was a little bigger actually fit. So that was something that had to bring simplicity. There had to be enough room in that stinking capsule, right? You know what this is like. With everything you put in, you push a little more out. You're almost watering down the formula if you put too many things, right? Too much of too many good things, and it becomes impotent, right? And so we needed to know that our concentrations, that our potencies were sensible to have that value, to have that simplicity. One thing I love to think about was for travel, ease of use in travel. When I travel, can I grab one bottle of supplements and have that suffice for me? Okay, so here's where I'm going to talk about your two different customers. The unbeaten formula. I would say this is where we win over your educated supplement customers. And this is where we win over your naturopaths. So this is where we win over educated people like you guys that know NAC and quercetin are expensive. You guys know the long-term benefits of elderberry. You know about olive leaf extract. A lot of people don't even know about olive leaf extracts, right? You know about the zinc and the copper supplementation and how that interacts with quercetin. And if you're anything like me, you absolutely love pine bark. I'm obsessed with pine bark. I think it's my favorite. And so, you can go through all of these different ingredients as an advanced supplement user, as an educated supplement user, as a store owner. And holy smokes, this formula is fantastic. I love going to CHFA, and you can tell right away who the retailers are that work the floor, because they grab the bottle and they look at it and like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, this is an excellent formula, right? This is how it goes. And I don't know, it just fills up my fanny pack. I love that they get passionate about that. And so, I can go through every one of these ingredients with you, but I'll also just leave that slide up. And I'm going to pull out my favorites. The elderberry is what shortens the cough, right? That's where we get those claims. But in reality, elderberry is amazing. Whether you're making your own tinctures at home or whether you're using elderberry teas, for thousands of years, elderberry has been used in this way. Quercetin is one of, I mean, melatonin has mixed reviews sometimes in terms of usage, but I think melatonin is one of the most awesome antioxidants around. Also learning more about this red dragon. I don't know if you maybe ask a question about it in the comments later if you guys know anything about the red dragon extract. But anyways, coming back to quercetin, I just spoke with the director over at Dicentra, who believes, he says that's my favorite one. He says I don't think there's a more powerful or more useful antioxidant in the world in terms of anti-aging, anti-carcinogenic effects. And so he said if he only had one to choose from, that would be his. And then coming over to NAC, it's the proven antioxidant. It's also just like, it's what people are using for so much, right? NAC is used for so much these days, from dementia to asthma to bronchitis, anything that requires added blood flow, right? So it's found to dilate blood vessels, to increase blood flow. And in our counterindications, actually on the bottle, it says don't use if you're using nitroglycerin. That's because NAC is kind of working as nitroglycerin already. It's already opening up those blood vessels and keeping things moving. So apart from that, I mean, you guys know vitamin D3, pine bark is incredible in terms of how it's interacting with olfactory systems, stuff with long COVID, getting rid of asthma. It's a brilliant antibiotic. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of what pine bark is going to do. And we have enough of this stuff in the formula that it's there, that it's working, right? Vitamin D3, zinc, and copper and elderberry are not taking up a lot in that capsule. So we've got room to put a decent amount of the others. So there's the formula, but does it work? There you go. Okay, so does it take care of that dry cough? Does it actually have some sort of quantifiable way to say viral prevention is happening? Is it keeping infection out of the lungs? This is my biggest one. I spent many years traveling the world with my wife as a musician, and we were singers as well. If we got sick, I mean, that was a career-killing event. So it was one thing to get a little bit of a cough, one thing to get a bit of a cold, but if it moved down into your lungs, now you're talking weeks of recovery, right? Sometimes you're missing 4, 5, 6, 7 concerts, and these types of things could almost bankrupt you, right? So yeah, keeping that infection out of the lungs before it got deep, reducing and shortening symptoms. And a phrase that we have around silver lining is, hey buddy, no down days, no down days. So there you go. So does it work? Yes, it works. I want to give you, well, I'll read this out to you guys. This is from Marcia in Moncton, New Brunswick. She wrote us, she said, I have had a persistent cough now for over a year. No relation to COVID. I've had many breathing tests, MRI, chest ray, x-rays, and other tests, which all come up negative as to the cause of the cough. I was put on a few puffers, which didn't help and caused side effects. Since using this product, I've experienced a significant improvement. I'm not coughing as much, and with continued use, I feel it will eventually subside totally. I sleep much better, as well as functioning better during the day without an irritating cough. I think that's the NAC when people start talking about sleeping better and functioning better. NAC, pine bark, I think those are just awesome antioxidants and dilators, right? So even the doctors were surprised there was so much improvement. I will continue to use this product and have recommended to others who are having similar issues or just need to build up their immune systems. Thank you. This is music to my ears. I did follow up with her, and we did have access to her through one of the reps, and she was off of the puffers, and she was sounded like she was almost back to 100%. And so that's, I mean, that's dreamy to have suffered that long and to experience that type of relief. So next one, we're talking about viral prevention. I work in a medical office with 14 others. This is from Jamie in Chilliwack. They all got a nasty cold, and I was terrified to get what they had. I was taking Silver Lining Be Well at the time and ended up being the only one who didn't get sick in the whole office. I was so excited to be the healthy one for a change, thanks to Be Well. So these things are anecdotal, I know, but we're hearing a lot of this stuff. We're hearing a lot of this stuff that it's actually working. It's actually keeping people from experiencing those down days and preventing viruses outright, like this case. Long-term coughs, right? You guys are hearing this as retailers a lot, I'm guessing. This is from Sandra from Guelph. My son had a chest cough for a long time. We tried everything. Your product was the only thing that worked. One bottle, no cough. So after this one bottle, his chest and his deep chest cough was completely cleared up. So talk about keeping it out of the lungs. Finally, from Gary in my hometown here now, Stratford, Ontario. Quality product. I've gotten sick multiple times per year over the past 15 years without fail. My flu symptoms would linger for 6 to 7 days. I've taken Be Well daily for the past several months and have yet to be stricken by any flu symptoms. My wife and both of my children take Be Well daily as well. The results are consistent among all of us. This is an immune system maximizer that gets top marks across the board. And I think we should probably make Gary write copy for our website in the future. So there you go. Does it work? Anecdotally, absolutely. I wish that we had $2 million and we could run a really excellent clinical trial. But we do have dozens, if not hundreds, of testimonials saying, okay, guys, this is really working. This is really awesome. And as it begins to gain more popularity throughout the retail structures that you guys are a part of, we're hearing more and more of these, and we're seeing those sales start to climb, right? The same exact process we saw with the original probiotic and prebiotic enzyme blend, because it worked. So if it doesn't work, we need to go home, right? Like, it's got to work. It's got to freaking well work. So, but does it save money? Okay, so that's the next priority that we're coming into. Does it save you money? So when we go into the store and we see what this type of shopping cart looks like, this is the challenge that you guys as retailers face. So we talked about the two different customers. One of them is educated. They're going to love it because of the formula. And probably a lot of them are already taking NAC and quercetin and stuff like that. So they're going to love it because of the formula. But there's another kind of customer that I mentioned at the very, very beginning. This subtle exodus, as I call it. People are growing disillusioned at a higher rate than usual with the mainstream medical system. I know that out of curiosity, I wanted some blood work done. Out of curiosity, I tried to book an appointment with my doctor. I knew what I wanted. I just didn't want to have to go pay a private clinic for these tests. 2.5 months is what I was going to wait to get what they considered to be a non-emergency appointment with my doctor. So our system is stretched to the absolute max. Some argue that it's been broken for a long time. But I bring my own bias to this, again, having seen my own father's fairly tragic death when I was an 18-year-old man. I bring a bias to this. I see how broken the system is. I see that people are just trying to survive in the system. There's beautiful, wonderful nurses and doctors, but the system itself is so hyper-focused. It is so completely Johns Hopkins focused that there doesn't seem to be a lot of room. And when we get that narrow focus, it's only a matter of time before people start pushing back and saying, okay, but what else is out there? That's your second type of customer, the exodus customer that kind of wanders in out of the street. You can see in their eyes, they've probably never been in a store like this before, and it's overwhelming. And this is your opportunity to begin an engaging conversation with them. You're probably their therapist and their doctor and everything. Hopefully Health Canada's not on this call. I'm not saying you guys are their doctor or giving them health advice, but you are all these things in one to them. And so if you walk them around the store and you pick them out a shopping cart that's $275 worth, this may not be an option. We really, really were thinking of you when we talked about Be Well, because we wanted the retail experience to be directly transferable to those people that were coming off of the street for the first time, that were coming into your they were coming into your store and looking for help, and you didn't need to overwhelm them with a $275 shopping cart. The first time you had them there, you could give them a $50 item that was a 1 month supply, and had so many of these awesome products. Now, of course, that shopping cart doesn't translate apples to apples. It's about $80 to $90 of comparable supply in there when you break it all down. I hope you know what I mean by that. It would cost you $275 to buy all those ingredients separately, but that's probably a 2 month supply of NAC there instead of 1 month. You know what I mean? So there you go. So that's actual footage there of Bob Hedley bringing his supplements with him to his flight to CHFA in Vancouver. I don't know if you've seen Bob lately. He's lost a lot of weight, and that's what he looks like now. He's real trim. And that is his supplement bag. Okay, so he actually needs special allowances from the various airlines that he flies from to make sure that they can accommodate all of his supplements. I've never seen Bob Hedley take supplements. I mean, it's like a meal. Anyway, I'm glad. Keep supporting us, Bob. We appreciate you. Does it simplify your life is the third one. Is it a simple solution? I remember the first time I packed for a trip when Be Well was in print, once we had it bottled and it was ready to go. It was exhilarating. I'm the guy that had the little baggies with all the supplements. And so so as I did it the first time, and I grabbed this bottle and I just put it in my bag, and I thought, this is incredible. This is electrifying. We did it. We made the Simplify Your Life supplement for being on the road, for traveling, and feeling confident that while we were out there, we were supporting our immune system. I recently spoke to an author that travels the world, speaking regularly, and he's getting more naturally minded in his health all the time. And he's an author, he's a speaker, and when I look at this guy's schedule, I think, like, how does this man survive? And he's got like 4 kids, and they're all below the age of 5, I think. This man's a machine. And he actually contacted me to say that he's taking Be Well, and that this is his like vote of confidence when he hits the road. He knows that he's doing everything he can to stay healthy on the road, and he says he hasn't had a bad cold since. That's incredible. That's incredible. So anyways, really encouraged. Yes, it simplifies your life. Okay, so I think maybe one of the most important parts that I can talk about when I'm talking to you guys is messaging to customers. The customer is what matters ultimately, and for us, it's you that matters, right? We don't typically have direct access to the customers, but you do, and that's why we love you guys so much. That's why it's so important to us that you guys are doing what you're doing. So getting that same messaging out, it follows the same priorities, right? This actually works. This saves you money. This keeps things simple. This actually works. This saves you money. This keeps things simple. Again, the formula is what's going to stick out to your educated customers, and the simplicity is going to be what sticks out to your new customers, right? The customers that are coming on this mass exodus from the mainstream medical system, a medical system that, let's be honest, has really let them down over the last few years, and they've done everything they were supposed to do. They took all their puffers, and they're still sick. They've still got their coughs. They've taken all their antibiotics, and all that's done is thrown out their gut flora, and so they're frustrated, and they're coming to you for help. And this is a really excellent way that you can bring that help to them. I do also say this to customers: double up during immuno events. This is something we get asked about a lot. The formula is such that the vitamin D3 is what is keeping us from being able to have a higher dosage level. So the vitamin D3, as you know, you would easily be able to take 2,500 to 5,000 IU per day, especially in immuno events, like, your kid comes home sick from school or something like that, or, you've got a big event coming up and everyone in your life seems to be sick. Double up for a week, and deal with it that way. So that is, sorry, just checking this out here. Yeah, so double up during those immuno events. The IU of vitamin D3 in these is only 500. I wish we could have had more, but you probably are aware that when you deal with a complex like this, you can only get 1,000 total IU of D3 in your daily supplemental dosage. So there you go. What I would do is my own supplementation. If your customer is open to more, then look into a new a K2 D3 drop or something like that, and boost that up even more. But a lot of people, if they're not supplementing with D3, that 1,000 per day IU of D3 is already amazing. And then if you're doubling up that dosage, that's 2,000, and that's awesome too. Okay, so our goal here, and this is again what you can talk to your customers about. No down days, guys. Our society became obsessed with not getting sick. That's nuts. When I was a kid, I'm only 41. When I was a kid, we had chickenpox parties. Okay, I had measles. I'm pretty sure I had mumps. My mom told me I had mumps. Anyways, I don't remember it. I had all these things that are so very deadly, and yet back then, 30 years ago, this was just commonplace that we fought through these viral infections and bacterial infections. Our immune systems were stronger. I mean, as long as we were healthy, I suppose. There's always a caveat. As long as we were healthy, our immune systems were much stronger having gone through that. And so the goal here is no down days. Yes, you may still get sick, but the whole point is that it comes alongside, and this is the terminology I'll use for customers. It's like weight training or piano practice. If you want to get strong like Big Matt McLennan you saw at the beginning of this video, you don't avoid the gym, my friends. You get right in there and you tear those muscles to shreds. You get ripped. You work hard day after day, year after year, and you train yourself. It's an uncomfortable process to have a stronger muscular system, right? Weight training, piano practice. How many people do you know that loved practicing piano and yet the fruit of it was good? They had to force themselves. So like a weight training coach or a piano instructor, BeWell Immune Support is designed to create this scenario where there's no down days. You might get sick, but you're not going to get as sick. I mean, I have friends that are getting sick for like weeks at a time, right? They're missing events days and days and days in a row. They're calling in for work for full weeks at a time. You're like, guys, this is not right. We can't be this sick. So that's the one part of it in terms of messaging to your customers. Hey, it's impossible to never get sick, and you don't want to never get sick. How are you going to get a strong immune system if you never use your immune system? So it's impossible to never get sick. However, when you do get sick, you don't want those down days. You don't want it taking you out. You want to get better fast. You want to keep going. All right. Keeping it out of your lungs. You can hear this in your customers. You can hear the coughs. You can hear the raspiness in their chests. So again, important messaging, keeping it out of your lungs, lessening and shortening symptoms, help keep you breathing, tasting, and thinking clearly. In this post-COVID era, there's some weird long-term symptoms that we're having. Some people do blame it on COVID, whatever. It's a new respiratory era, and colds are just weird now. They're just strange, and we have some strange symptoms, including losing olfactory abilities, which, I mean, that's a really bizarre one. NAC, pine bark are helping to get rid of the brain fog that we're seeing from these viruses, and they're helping to get your breathing back to normal, your tasting back to normal. And that's a clinical trial. I know that we're not supposed to make claims about what things can do for long COVID and stuff, but the clinical trials are there. Health Canada has not allowed us to make these claims on these products, but the clinical trials are there. Look them up. Pine bark is kicking butt. NAC is kicking butt. Here's how I spoke to a marketing guru here last week, and he said this, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is pure gold. Like, that is pure gold. What would you pay to miss your next cold or flu? What's it worth to you to know that these down days aren't going to get you down? Man, like, that is huge. And again, for singing, there would have been times where I would have paid $5,000, $10,000 to make sure I didn't get that respiratory infection, right? Now, you can't guarantee people aren't going to get sick, but the anecdotal reality is there person after person after person that is using this product is experiencing lessening symptoms, is experiencing viral avoidance entirely at times, is experiencing getting over their sicknesses in a mere day or two instead of a week or two. That's amazing. And you can't put a price on that. So if you ask your customer, well, I don't know, what's it worth to you to miss out on your next cold or flu? Is that something? I mean, you go to the casino and drop 20 or 30 bucks, that's just entertainment. What if we could tell you this actually is really helping a lot of people? What's it worth for you to miss out on your next cold or flu? I love that in terms of messaging to your customer. Grab the bottle, right? What's it worth to you? How much would you pay to miss out on your next cold or flu? So I just want to reference that there now. I'm on BeWell. I've been using it for the last few days in a more frequent usage because I'm actually sick right now, and so I share that with you in vulnerability. Obviously, I want to never get sick because then I could be like, look what BeWell did for me. I haven't been sick since 1994. But that's baloney. I've been sick twice this year. Once was a respiratory infection, and this one's gastrointestinal, and it really took me by surprise. But what was cool about that is that I actually got to take this along testing what is a very taxed gastrointestinal system right now. So there were times where I just had no appetite over these last couple of days, and so I was literally taking this BeWell immune support capsules on a totally empty stomach. And not only empty stomach, but I'm pretty sure empty intestines as well. And I kind of used myself as a guinea pig. It was kind, it was gentle to me. And I noticed the effects. I noticed the clarity. I noticed a lot of benefits to this. And I could feel that turnaround. So I share that with you in vulnerability to say, no, you're not going to avoid getting sick. But yes, you're going to shorten that. You're going to avoid more colds. That's pretty amazing. I used to get sick probably every 6 to 8 weeks in some way, shape, or form, and it's been twice in the last year. So finally, I'm coming to the end of my presentation here, and then we'll open it up to some questions. I need you guys to realize something. This is just a little pep talk for you. Those of you that are working in retail. You're changing the world, and you might not even know it. I've had a number of interactions with healthcare professionals over the years that have changed the course of my life. And by healthcare professionals, I actually include you guys in on that. I know that you wouldn't ever call yourselves that. You would be quick to add the caveat, oh, hey, I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not telling you what to take or what to do. Consult your physician, consult your naturopath. But the fact is that when I was at my lowest times, I didn't go to my doctor. I didn't go to a holistic nutritionist. I walked in to see Tracy at Stratford Health Store and just said, Tracy, I don't know what's wrong. I've got these 3 symptoms. And she listened compassionately. You might even know Tracy Weber, met her at CHFA or something over the years. She's brilliant. And with tears in my eyes, I explained to her what was going on and that I just sort of felt like I was at the end of my rope. I could not keep up. And Tracy just also tears in her eyes, right? And you guys know what this is like. You're with us, right? You're with us in the trenches. You're our therapists and our doctors and everything all in one, our nutritionists, all this. And so Tracy listened to me and she gave me the time of day. And rather than simply prescribe me with some antidepressant or something like that, she said, sweetie, it sounds like your adrenals are just exhausted. You've got adrenal fatigue, I think. And hey, I'm not diagnosing you, but take this and take this. Let me know how you feel in a week. And I was a new man in a week. And I went back in there. We had concerts that week. And so I was so grateful to be feeling better again. I went back in there and just hugged her and said, you have no idea. This is incredible. And so I share that story with you guys so that you can be empowered and motivated to keep doing what you're doing. We'll keep doing what we're doing, and we love your suggestions. I know we're just small. We're small time, right? You guys get to deal with people all the time that have hundreds of amazing products, right? There's so many. Well, there's a lot of great Canadian companies out there. We're just one of the small guys, but I need you to know how much what you're doing means. and that you are changing the world for the better. And then I want to ask you if you guys would be willing, and I can provide you with a free bottle of Be Well for doing so. But I'm hoping that you guys can also be involved in collecting some testimonials. We don't have the millions to do the clinical trials. And even then, sometimes your clinical trials get very muddied up. As you can remember, maybe cold effects clinical trials. They spent a lot of money and a lot of time on that, and then in the end, they sort of were discredited for their methodology. So even when you do it, it can be a challenging. Anecdotal stuff is amazing. I mean, that's what sold me on this industry in the very first place, was somebody saying, "Oh, I got rid of my heartburn. I started taking HCl." HCl, isn't that going to make it worse? Actually, funny you should ask. So please, I'd love you to send your testimonials to Bob or to myself. I'm sure Bob can give you my email. But get testimonials from your customers. Take the product yourself. Get testimonials, and then I don't want to bribe you with a free bottle of no, I do want to bribe you with a free bottle of Be Well. So that's what I say in closing. Thank you for all you do. We are so incredulously grateful for how you are keeping this country on track. And it's tough. We know that there are constant barriers that come up against good, healthy supplements in Canada. Thank you for the fact that you're still fighting the good fight. And I believe you're doing some of the best work in medicine that is happening in this country right now.
Thank you, Shane. That was awesome. Great presentation. I wish that was my picture that you showed, but I don't quite look like that. But I appreciate the. We have one question there about children taking Be Well.
Okay.
What would you recommend?
Okay, so this is one of those things where I have the PLA here in front of me. Just give me a second. It does not explicitly say that children cannot take it. So it is designated as an adults 18 and up product. We have dozens and dozens of reports of children taking it. Obviously, you can monitor dose. So I cannot tell you, oh yeah, children can totally take this. It's totally fine. Dozens upon dozens upon dozens of children are currently taking Be Well. The dosages that are recommended on that bottle, in my opinion, are completely fine for kids, but I'm not a healthcare professional. My kids have been taking it. My friends' kids have been taking it since it was in its developmental stage, right? Because we wanted this to be something that was immunosupport for everyone. So the technical answer is that it is designated for adults 18 up, but nor is it in the warnings that it should not be taken by children. See what I mean? So there's a tension there.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, anybody that does have any questions, you feel free to email them to us at info@hedleys.ca, and we'll make sure that Shane gets them and gets the answers back to all of the participants that are on the call tonight. I thank you all for coming out tonight and giving us a little bit of your time. We will be sending a free bottle of Be Well to all the participants that were on the call tonight. They will go out with your next order for your store. So we'll get that list put together and get them out to you just as soon as possible. With that, I just want to thank you again, Shane. That was great. It's always nice to get a little humor in these presentations for sure, and we appreciate that. And it looks like people are starting to sign off, so we'll let them go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Sounds great. Thanks again, Bob. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.